Man! She's dead. Alright. Thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you for your patience and cooperation throughout the day. Just listening to Tom there, I was reflecting on how great it's been this particular year. This is our 11th year, that I myself haven't had to do very much at all. I'm just here at the end. Of course, we did the family demonstration, but in previous years, Peggy and I were in every demonstration ourselves. But the dojo has grown to such a point now where we can step back a little bit and the students have taken over. And it's very pleasing to see that what we hoped to bring at the beginning, the seed that we hoped to plant, has grown and grown until now we have a full demonstration today with basically I could have taken the day off and it would have run without a hit short. So it falls on me to try to explain a little bit about what you've been seeing today, which is Aikido, particularly the format of Yoshinkan Aikido. And what I thought I would do is try to explain three key concepts that come from my instructor through his instructor regarding Aikido. And they are, the Japanese words are Shuchu Ryoku, Zenshin Ryoku, and Koku Ryoku. And they're basically three different powers that are applied in the training. Now the first one, we can see, can we grab the bottles? Give one to me. Green one. Okay. The first we can see very clearly, right, when we do combine. Actually, let's go this direction first, so everyone can see. So, with the sword, the extension of this weapon is through the center, right? And this is what we call our center line. Now, if my line deviates a little bit, say like that or like that, when we make contact here, push forward, right, I become quite weak. I'm vulnerable to a stronger line, right? But if we have the right form, right, as we make contact here, right, very hard for my partner to move into me. This is a key, a basic element of swordsmanship. I don't consider myself to be a swordsman, but a lot of the elements that we practice in Aikido come from that. Then, so that's our Zenshin Ryoku, that's our center line. And the opposite side of that is, Shomanuchi, but look after me, right, is that the attacker also has a center line, which they're using to attack with. And so we can kind of predict where the sword is going to be, right? Usually they're not going to cut so much over here, over here. They're going to try and cut us in the center, right? And it's self-defense, right? That doesn't mean that I don't reserve the right to counter-attack freely, but I'm very hesitant to draw and use my weapon because of the ramifications of it. Now, in that, we want our partner to feel free to attack us. Right? So you'll often see in the sword demonstration, and you might not have noticed, but there were some points where one of the swordsmen would lower their sword, or people would lower their sword like that. And that's called a saso. That's an invitation to attack. Now, when they attack then, right, we have to move. Right? And I can't, I can't block, and stay in this position. Right? My sword would break and the result would be the same. So as they strike, so strike freely, right? We move out of the way. Right? And my blade, I don't know if you could see it, but my blade caught the momentum of my partner and it swung back to hit them. I actually didn't do anything. And that's a key element of what Aikido should be. Stefan, you come with the gut? Okay, we'll go this way so everyone can see. Now, a little bit harder to explain is Shuchu Ryoku. Alright, now if you grab and hold it like that, and you hold very, very strongly. So Stefan's quite a strong man. He told me the other day he's 6'2". Is that correct? Oh, sorry, I added an inch. 6'1". Right? He's very strong. So when I try to wrestle this with him, it's very hard for me. His concentration power, his power of concentration is in his arms, through the legs and the hips. And what we have to do in Aikido is we have to not get drawn to that point. Right? So if I'm drawn to that point, it's very hard for me. Right? We move around it. Right? And so within locking very strongly, we go around that point too. Like that. Very easy. Right? And that applies in lots of different things. Now, one of the misunderstandings of this weapon, this is called the jo, and when we do it with Aikido, it's called aiki jo. One of the misunderstandings is what's actually happening. So, I'm armed. If he wants to attack me, I'll hit him. Right? I've got no hesitation with that. But in terms of his response to that, he will grab this weapon. Right? And now, unfortunately, I can't hit him. Right? So I have to free him of the weapon. And so a lot of what we do when he grabs, we're learning to move and extend so the power is away from us. Right? Each time he comes to grab, I move in a way that allows me to do that. Right? If I get like that, I can't move. Got to find the opening within him. And so that's both benching ryoku, right, the center line power when I throw, and shuchu, my concentration and form, everything together in one spot. If I deviate from that, I break the line. It doesn't work very well. Okay, thank you. And and then the third power is called kokuroku. Again, go this way so people can see. Kokuroku is breath power. Now, it's a bit hard to understand. When I first went to Japan and I learned, oh, it's called kokuroku, I thought, oh, I have to breathe in time with my partner. But it's not that at all. Breathing is a natural thing. Everybody's doing it at the moment. None of you are thinking about what you're doing as you breathe. We don't go like concentrating unless you're distressed or having some problem. You don't think when you breathe. Right? So when we move, so if you do shomanuchi, I don't think about where I'm going. Move. I just move. Right? And each time we move freely. Right? Now, the idea then, let's come back here, right, is not to catch him where he's strongest. So he brought his arm up, this attack is called shomanuchi. So I don't want to catch him where he's strongest. I'm going to move, possibly here, into this open space here. So, let's go back a bit. So when Andy attacks, I move into that space. I don't want to stay in conflict with him here. That doesn't make sense to. So every time we move, every time we attack, right, we move freely. We're not going to stop the momentum or the intention of our partner. We can't. Right? All we can do is deal with the situation as they present themselves. Yeah, Gretchen and Steph on the top. Just leave the weapon. Now, Steph, I was almost going to say Gretchen. Right, Stefan and Gretchen both train here every day. They're doing a special program and they train usually a couple of hours every day. Sometimes during the week work gets in the way, but as much as possible they're here every day training. Now, Stefan, right, and Gretchen, right. Stefan's originally from Macedonia, right? Okay. How long have you been here? 5 years now, right? But he actually was training in Macedonia before him, weren't you? Right? And Gretchen is born in Sydney, right? Been here her whole life. But they met in the dojo. Now, it's a nice party trick, that one. But what it is, what I'm actually doing, right, is I'm bringing my center together. Right? And once it's together, right, I then relax. So I can easily move through, and then I release. Right? I can't do this. If I try to force this on, it doesn't work. Right? It's got to be light and relaxed. It's got to be such that my hips are moving in sync. So that if I actually go this way, right, grab me, right, 2 hands, there, right. So, now again, actually, one of you grab it on top. Okay. Okay. So just take a seat for a moment. Again, a bit of a misunderstanding with this sometimes. I'm armed. I'll use a knife if I have to. I don't want to, right? But it's part of the reality of conflict, right? Stefan's younger, stronger, fitter than me. So if we're in real conflict and I need to defend myself, I have no qualms of picking up a knife. But if he wants to subdue my knife, he will grab my arm, usually, something like that. Now, it's very hard for me to use the knife. So I have to bring everything I just mentioned, the Zenshu Ryoku, right, the Shuchu Ryoku, in so that I can free myself of the knife. Now, if he grabs loosely, that doesn't work, but I can use the knife. And so when we see Aikido, people often say, oh, that's fake and that's, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that this is what we call a weapons clearance. So I free myself so I can use my weapon if I need to. Right? It's not about me being aggressive, it's about me understanding the fundamentals of the tools that I use. And if I was a police officer or a military person, those skills are still relevant today. So we put it all into play, right? We put it all into play. Everything should be very, very relaxed. It shouldn't be tense. I have a sense of tension and then relaxation. So come in. Right. Okay, so now, right, if I'm tense immediately, I'll break my fingers. Right, here I relax. I find the opening, right, and then I can move freely. I need these, right, I can't give them away. So when I move, I can't cross and leave them behind, that they're just not strong enough. But if you move correctly, right, we're keeping that same center line. Right, so when we do the techniques, the power is not within the arms, but it's within the line of the body that we carry our techniques with. Right, now, Stefan, you come back. Right, don't reach your feet there. Right, you come in, grab me. Now there's another aspect. Right, I make myself tense. Then I relax. Right. I can't do that if I'm tense all the time. So if I'm tense, my body becomes lighter. Now as I relax, very easy to move. Right. And each time we move, every time we move, that's what we're doing. It's not the two, slowly shaman. Right. I'm not trying to lift and pull him that way. Right. When he attacks, right, we move freely, but there's very little contact. Right. Sometimes I'll blend with him, sometimes I'll go through. He attacks, right, we stand strong. Right. What we do is our choice. If I come in and I plant myself and I go up, Stefan becomes stronger. And as we come through, my weight needs to shift forward into the front. Okay. Again, thank you all very much for coming. I can smell pizza. I know people are hungry. So we're going to wrap up there. Please stay. We've got food and drink. It'll take us 5 minutes to set up. Thank you very much, everybody.